So Daniel, how did this whole thing start? What's the idea behind it?
Well, I did, I think, 3 episodes of a kind of a vlog. I did that last year, where I was kind of walking around, similar to what we were doing in the first episode, walking around, looking at the passage that was coming up on Sunday, and kind of talking about it, trying to put it in context. But it was just me doing it alone. So after the 3rd episode, I realized that there's something missing. There's no dynamics in there. There's no dialogue, and that's when I stopped. And so when you came, I thought, ooh, that's an interesting idea. We could have a dialogue between you and me, and then, you know, it's a better way, I think, to communicate rather than just have like a one-way conversation. Then it's almost like a 3-way conversation.
So is this going to be sort of a churchy thing?
Well, initially it was, but I think it's from the comments we got in the 1st and 2nd episode, I think that we should maybe change it a bit, and you do the theology thing and I'll do the psychotherapy thing. And we'll just kind of fight with each other a bit.
Okay.
Right. So you bring the theology, I bring the psychotherapy, and we create a dialogue between the two. I know it's a bit odd because I'm a minister, but you know, let's forget about that altogether. We'll try to ignore it entirely and just focus on, I'll be the therapist and you'll be the theologian, and we'll just have a nice fight talking about stuff. I won't let you get away with anything, and you shouldn't let me get away with anything.
To be fair, I prefer to address a different kind of audience than the church.
Yeah.
Because where my heart is, where I think my calling from God is rather to people on the margins, to people who have been burned by the church, or who grew up in a Christian environment but have questions, have problems, have doubts.
They're not really sure what it's about, how Christianity is actually relevant to their lives.
If it works, if it's relevant, if it's for today, or it's something outdated, something for the past we can learn about and be interested in, but which doesn't really work today.
Right. So really, I think in this episode, we'll talk about how we're going to go forward, what's coming, some ideas that we have, and maybe share those ideas and see what people are saying. Invite people to comment, and either on Facebook or on YouTube, to comment and tell us what they think, what they would think is useful, and from that we'll try to integrate it. Yeah.
Let's try it.
Yeah. Okay. So if you come at it from a theological standpoint, what are you going to bring to it?
I first bring the scripture, the holy writing.
That's where it starts.
Then how it was read in the history of the church.
Okay.
And then my community experience, my personal experience as a man, as a white man, as a man of my age.
Right. What about your expertise, your academic expertise?
Of course, all my life experiences come into this.
Right.
I'm a married man. I have children, grandchildren.
No, I'm talking more because you have a master's in ecclesiology, was it?
Yeah.
Right, in the science of the church, and you also have a PhD in ecclesiology.
Yes.
Right. So it's about church.
Yeah, of course. My academic understanding, my interest in Eastern Orthodoxy, my inter-religious experience, my involvement in development, all these frame my understanding of life, and I'm going to bring all these in our conversation.
All right, great.
And what are you going to bring from your own particular perspective in this dialogue?
Okay. I mean, I could bring the theological part as well, but I think it's not a good idea. I'll let you do that part, and I will bring in an interest in psychology and human behavior, psychology of human behavior for a very long time. I've studied that. I've done a course in counselling in my master's at New College in Edinburgh, and then I graduated last year from the College of Holistic Medicine with a diploma in therapeutic counselling. So I'm going to bring this kind of existential dimension of so what, in terms of how does it change my life? How does it help me to deal with my anxiety, with my depression, with the fact that I don't find any satisfaction in life, or how do I deal with these questions that are not letting me sleep at night? So I'll bring that kind of dimension in. I've been working as a volunteer counselor for over 2 years now, so worked with I don't remember how many clients, but over 150 hours of clients with different issues. So it's a different dimension to it. But I think it will create something interesting in that interplay.
I think there is overlap because
of course,
both these areas deal with humanity.
Yeah.
So anthropology is involved both in
Yes.
theology and in psychotherapy.
Indeed.
We talk about people, we talk about life and life experience. So I hope we'll find some common ground, although our different perspectives may bring disagreement in some areas, and some areas where we may need to be agnostic.
Right. Yes, indeed. I mean, in a way, we are responding to what Carl Jung was talking about. He was talking about the priest and the psychotherapist should learn from one another. But that's actually never been done, really. At least I haven't seen anything where a priest and a psychotherapist are in dialogue about theology and life and therapy. And also Paul Tillich was saying in the beginning of last century, unless theologians learn from psychotherapy, they will lose the connection with the people and with the real life. So in a way, we're kind of responding quite late to those two great men of science and theologian, to kind of bring those two dimensions together in 21st century.
Now, you're telling me from your experience in church and in psychotherapy, that sometimes there is a contrast between the way people engage in these two environments to soul care, that often in church people tend to take it for granted, that they should be helped and supported and so on, while in psychotherapy things are quite different. People pay for it, they are committed. So could you elaborate a little bit, because I think this is relevant in a sense to our conversations and to the way we're going to engage in this dialogue.
Well, to answer that, I can go to Jung, who says that for most Protestants it doesn't occur to them that their minister would be able to help them with the problems of soul. But a Catholic would go to their priest for that, but a Protestant wouldn't go to their minister for that. So there's something in the way the role was set up that's a bit odd. And Jung seems to say that that's because Protestants tended to go with Freud's approach, which is more clinical and a kind of medical model, or Adler, which is more based on education, and that Catholics tended to go to his approach where the psyche is central, the soul, religion plays a big part in the therapeutic process, although Carl Jung was a Protestant. Ironically, he was like one of those prophets that is not welcomed in their own environments in a way. But I think that will come out in our conversations quite a lot. Yeah, that would be like the main thing that will come out.
We are not going to have a technical, professional conversation.
No.
This is not our purpose.
No, it's not for specialists. It's not for theologians and psychologists and psychotherapists. Although we'd love to have them watch our stuff and comment from their perspectives. But No, that's not the intention. It's not what we're trying to do. No.
We are in Scotland.
We are.
With amazing landscapes.
Check that out.
Great nature. So we hope to travel in different places.
Well, actually, this is how the idea started, is because we have gone to different places in Scotland just to show you around, and we had great conversations on the way, right? And that's kind of where the idea started in my head last year. I thought, I wish we had a camera with us to record this and share it and kind of broaden the conversation a little bit. But who we want to broaden the conversation to is just normal people who maybe have questions about how their Christian heritage connects to the reality of life. Does faith have anything to do with how they feel inside? Does faith have anything to say about depression or anxiety? And what does theology say about that? And how does it all connect together? But we all feel anxious at times. We all feel a bit down at times, and we want to have a place to go to when things aren't okay. So where do we go? Do we go to church? Do we go to a therapist?
Do you go to the movies?
Do you go to the movies? Do you go to a beautiful place like this and take a walk? And you know, there's definitely something in that.
Do you go to a jazz bar to listen to music? Have some good whiskey or a good beer?
Exactly. So that's another idea that we could do, is go to some nice gigs, try to film something if they will let us film a little bit, and maybe do a review and try to make connections between what they're doing and the kinds of things that are happening around us.
We may talk about some new movie.
Yes.
Or some world event.
Yes. We can talk about a book that you've read, and then you'll tell me about it, and then I'll critique it. Can't promise I'm going to read the book. Movie, yeah, we'll see if I'm interested. If I'm not interested, see above about the book. But it'd be great to hear what our viewers think about these ideas, and maybe they'll give us some comments about their own ideas.
Why not?
Yeah, I think that'll be good.
Let's open up and see what comes.
Sure. So we'll wait to see what they say.
Okay.
Cool. All right, let's go.